Hi, my name is Bill Penny, and I'm a District Literacy Coordinator with Adams 12. This is the UFLI Foundation's initial training. This initial training is going to include some background. We'll talk a little bit about some of the data behind this decision to use this with our students and where it fits within our programs. We're also going to talk a lot and actually practice a lot of how to teach the resource so that you feel nice and confident starting groups with your students using this resource. We will talk a little bit about how to make groups so you can get started there. And then we'll give you a preview of the next steps and support because this really is the start of a learning sequence. And at the very end, we are hoping that you will provide feedback to help us improve any future trainings. Just so you know, your school might break up this training based on the amount of time you have available. UFLI Foundations comes from the University of Florida Literacy Institute. So that's what that acronym means. And it is a research and evidence-based foundational literacy curriculum that was CDE approved. It provides explicit and systematic instruction aligned with the science of reading, and it is designed to supplement differentiated instruction so core instruction can stay at grade level. And that's really how we're going to be using this. We won't be replacing our universal literacy resource, Benchmark Advance. This is in addition. So this would be used for students who have intensive needs or intensive foundational skills gaps in their learning across kindergarten through 5th grade and potentially in higher grades. One of the brightest pieces of UFLI was how its instructional routines and scope and sequence align with all of our resources that we are using for students across Adams 12. So that means from the earliest stages of Benchmark Advance on through Tier 3 resources that we're using in academic intervention and in the IEP services. All of these routines and scope and sequence really lines up nicely. So that means we'll have more coherence for students. Now, where this is going to fit, just as a visual, is right there in the middle. So think about it this way. If Benchmark Advance provides the general support that is working for most students, and IEPs and academic interventionists, they are providing the most intensive support, UFLI is right in the middle. And so it's also right in the middle in terms of its instructional intensity. So as you're thinking about this, where this fits, this is really that next step in terms of increasing the amount of intensity we're providing for students based on their need. UFLI really is intended, and our best hope for it is to be used to move toward equity for students in Tier 2 in-class literacy intervention. We know that the planning load classroom teachers face is immense. And so the intention with this resource is not to take away the art of teaching and the art of planning and responding to students. Instead, really what we want to do is shift the focus from you having to think up every single word and that sequence of learning and how it all connects across time, that curriculum design piece, so that you can focus on instruction and how to respond to what you see your students doing. The other intention for this is to provide job-embedded professional learning around foundational literacy skills. Many of you have invested a significant amount of time learning about the science of reading, and this resource is intended to help us use it as a third point of reference to learn more about this facet of foundational literacy. Now, this is, again, it's not intended really to replace anything. It's not intended to replace Benchmark Advance or Heggerty or any of the other resources that we are using. So that is priority number one. If we replace Benchmark Advance with this, we will start to see much more significant gaps, and we'll show you some data as to why we think that would happen. This is also not a call to only teach foundational literacy skills. This is just a component of literacy. It's essential, and there is much more to literacy. It's more complex than just one set of skills. It's also not a call to differentiate up with foundational skills. So what that means is that we're going to be using UFLI to support our learners who need more time and intensity than what the core resource is providing. For students who are doing just well in their foundational skills based on what Benchmark Advance is providing, great. Where we want to support them is based around their needs, and not just pushing them up above grade level in those foundational skills. The other thing you want to be considering is this is not the only thing that students will need. And let's talk more about this just now.